Hey guys, it's Spacey Sims, and we are back with more Mystic Destinies, Chapter 3 of Takumi. Woo! Oh my god. I thought I loved Shinji, but I think Takumi's kind of taken over here. Um, yeah, I mean this and just this part to begin with is just freaking amazing so far. Just two chapters in and I'm like I can't even imagine. Can't even imagine how good the rest of it is. Anyway, Chapter 3, Shattered Illusions. Ooh, how pretty! I push myself out of my stunned state and sit up. When I do, I freeze again at seeing Takumi in midair. He spins, flipping in the air, and lands with a much more elegant roll than I assume I did. I just sit there in shock at everything that just happened. Takumi stands up, dusts himself off, and walks up to me. Sorry about that. I didn't really think about how I was going to get you up here. He offers me a gloved hand, which I gladly take, and pulls me up to my feet. I take a deep breath and regain some of myself and look around. I nearly gasp at the stunning view of the city, so breathtaking from here. It makes me a little dizzy too, being so high. I swallow hard and focus on Takumi instead. What the hell was that? What was any of that? Why are we up here? Taku holds up 3 fingers. Magic grappling hook. He puts 1 finger down. Flying through the air. He folds down a second one. And last, because this is how I like to get around from my jobs. He puts his 3rd finger down and lets his hand drop. It's way faster than walking or getting stuck in traffic. That everything? What about the bag? There's no way you could have fit whatever that was in there. Bag? Oh, you mean the Sal? Yeah, that's a Salazar bag. Or the Sal. So the Sal, yeah. That's a Salazar bag. Enchanted bag that can hold way more than it should. It's Hermione's purse. It's a Mary Poppins purse is what it really is. We should give credit to Mary Poppins. My purse feels like that sometimes because like the lining is ripped. Like in the little pocket, the side pocket. It's got a rip in it. So when you put things in that little pocket, they fall into the inner lining of the purse. So you basically got to go elbow deep and like fish around in the bag to find like, the lip gloss that should be in that little pocket. Because it's like floating around in the purse. So it just looks kind of funny because then you're like, here's my lip gloss. And it's like, were you just elbow deep in your purse? Like, it's kind of fun. Anyway, Takumi takes the bag out again and holds it out to me. See? The gem tells me how much it holds. I bend down and squint at the white bag. It's so small. I take it from Takumi and turn it around in my hand. It feels heavier than a bag that size should, and my curiosity gets the better of me. I pull it open and stick my hand in. To my amazement, my hand disappears into the bag. How? It's so small, but it feels so spacious. It feels so weird to see half of my forearm gone. It feels like it shouldn't be real, that I'm seeing something like, It feels like it shouldn't be real, that I'm seeing some really neat trick. I feel around inside the bag and wonder, and my hand brushes against something sharp. Ah! The bag slips out of my grip, but Takumi catches it before it can hit the ground. Careful, there's a lot of dangerous shit in there. You shouldn't just go sticking your hand in someone's bag, especially someone like me. Takumi takes my hand and I notice that there's a tiny bleeding cut. He takes out a black cloth from his bag and applies it to my cut. I watch his fingers skillfully work to stop the bleeding. My eyes travel up to his face. And just who is someone like you? Takumi looks up at me and something flashes in his eyes, but it's gone so fast that I can't catch it. You know who I am better than anyone. I don't say anything and Taku takes his cloth back and stuffs it into his bag. Do I, though? It hasn't been that long since we saw each other, but he seems completely different. Still, he is taking care of me now. Then what was all that fancy spitting business about? You couldn't do that before. Ah, that. Well, I learned parkour. It's how I get around. When you want to move in the shadows and get in lots of little places, it's more convenient to come in from above. The only bad thing about being solo, though, is that no one gets to see how cool you are. He removes his mask and leans down, moving closer to me. He looks into my eyes. Oh my god. I'ma fall off the building! So, did I look cool? I was too busy being thrown, and I was not at all very. Of course he looked fucking cool. We saw, I was too busy being thrown. It's like, I fucking saw you. I knew you'd be able to appreciate something like that. Who wouldn't? You were awesome. Thanks. Takumi moves away and pulls his sleeve back, revealing a black and yellow sports watch. Anyway, I'm running late and I want to catch this guy tonight. He pulls up his mask. I didn't really plan out how you'd follow me, though. Takumi stares at me for a few moments before nodding. Yeah, the guy's pretty close to here, and he should be making his deal any minute now. So why don't you just stay... Takumi cuts himself in the middle of the sentence. Wide-eyes, he stares at something behind me. Taku? I turn around to see the one person I never expected to see. Shizuka stands just a few feet away from me. I feel as if my heart stops seeing those cold green eyes staring back at me. Just like that night. A frantic heat rises through my whole body, and yet I feel cold. So very cold. I want to escape, to be anywhere but here. All I can do is stand rooted in place. Why is she here? How? How did she even know we'd be here? Slowly she comes toward us. A cold, taunting smirk plays on her lips. She holds up her hand and I can see darkness playfully dancing around her fingers, gently caressing her skin. I bet you didn't think you'd see me again. Move, 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 damn it! I try to force myself to move, to even turn and look at Taku, but I can't. As her eyes momentarily drift behind me, to Takumi, I suddenly wonder what she might do to us. To him. Why is she even here? Seriously, why is she even here? What else can she do to me after all? All the questions I ever wanted to ask instantly fly out of my mind. Not yet. I wasn't ready yet. Why now? Why is she here now? She gives me a cold smile and holds out her hand. And why does she have power if she gave it all to us? She should be like a normal human. The darkness around her arms slowly moves forward. Tendrils of the shadow move and shift and reach for me. A memory of Hikaru standing in front of me like this, holding his hand out just like that, rushes to my mind. Distantly, I hear a yell. Move, idiot! By the time I realize that I'm falling, I already hit the ground with a painful thud. I look up to see Taku throw something at Shizuka, one after another. Whatever it is, they make contact with Shizuka's wrist, and the shadows from her hand fade away. As it fades away, Shizuka frowns and holds her wrist. Poison darts, you know what I mean, like. Sedatives, that's what I'm thinking. Taku pulls on another 3, it's shurikens, right? Shurikens? I have no idea how to pronounce that. I have no idea. You know what? Anyway, from somewhere within his sleeve and glares at Shizuka. I look back and forth from him to Shizuka, unsure of what to do. I turn my focus onto Shizuka. Lots of Shizukas in that. Why are you here? Why now? Why not now? Besides, I could ask the same of you two. Next time, they won't be dull ones. When Takumi speaks, his voice sounds an octave lower than usual. Ooh. Instead of answering, Shizuka chuckles. You're persistent, huh? Just drop the act already. Act? Don't lose control, Inara. This person here, they're not really who they look like to you. If you're seeing your mother, forget it. This isn't her. This guy is an illusionist by the name of Husam Saab. Not known for attacking people, though. As he's explaining all this, Takumi doesn't take his eyes off Shizuka even once. That explains it. Your girlfriend wants a word with you. I can hand you over to her directly to the police. What will it be? The two quietly stare at each other, and I turn my focus inward, attempting to get a grip on my emotions. Shizuka breaks the eye contact between them first. Without a warning, she starts to walk towards me. Can't you help me, Inara? We can fix this. Go back to being mother and daughter. I stare at the woman standing before me, not knowing what to think or feel. My eyes drift to Takumi, who glances back at me. Don't you dare listen to his bullshit, Inara. I look back at the Shizuka. Her eyes seem to shine with deep regret and sadness. My eyes meet Takumi's again. Are you sure? But before I can finish the sentence, I hear a metallic click. Shizuka no longer stands there. Instead, a strange man is in her place, aiming a gun right at me. Weren't we chased by this guy before in one of the other things? Yeah. Your girlfriend really is an idiot. Do you a favor and get rid of her. There's no way I'm going back to mine. Husam's finger moves to the trigger and I freeze. But then, everything changes in the blink of an eye. 1 second Husam is standing there, and the next he's screaming, holding his bleeding wrist, a blade stuck deep in him. The gun clatters to the ground between us. My eyes follow it as it slides along the ground. Takumi runs up to Husam, grabs him by the jacket, and punches him hard. Husam flies to the ground, still clutching his bleeding wrist. Takumi walks up to him, and for a moment he just stands there, quietly looking down at the bleeding man on the ground. Without warning, Takumi violently steps on the shuriken on Husam's wrist. Shuriken? Am I saying that? I'm probably not. Whatever. I butcher everything. Husam cries out in anguish, desperately clawing at Takumi's boot as tears fall from his eyes. What are you doing? I hurriedly push myself up and run over to them. Just let him do his job, bitch! Stop getting involved! Takumi doesn't move, though. I run up to him and give him a push. Taku's eyes glint at me dangerously, but I don't back down, and I glare right back at him. What are you doing? He's got no weapon. You've clearly got him. You need him alive, right? But he could have killed you. He says it so quietly that I barely manage to catch it. Takumi finally removes his foot without further comment. Husam lies groaning on the ground, and Taku looks down at him. He pulls out what appear to be handcuffs from his jacket and bends down. As soon as he places them on Husam, I breathe a sigh of relief. We don't say anything else. I stand there watching Takumi's back as he starts to treat the moaning man's wounds. As I do, I can't help but wonder, just what happened to you in the last 3 years, Takumi? Or even longer than that, to make him do this for 3 years, you know what I mean? I stand alone on Yoru's main street. Takumi is dropping Husam off at his girlfriend's home, and I'm waiting for him to be done. I wonder what exactly happened to make his girlfriend come after him like that. And just what is she going to do with him? Having no desire to follow that particular train of thought, I shake myself off from it. Takumi comes out of the girlfriend's house and makes his way to me. I bet you have some questions. I cross my arms. Ding, ding, ding! You win the prize! However, did you guess? Takumi starts to walk down the street and I follow him, arms still crossed. I don't know, I would have been like, yeah, kick his ass! Woo! It's just me. I am so not a Nara. Like, beat him, Takumi! Beat him to death! Kick his face in! Yeah! I'm horrible. Anyway, I feel like you've been expecting me to just go along with you on your word all night. You didn't mention anything about parkour or rooftops or, the chance to be nearly killed. To nearly be killed. I sigh. I know we were friends, but I really don't know. You do. You do know me. And I bet you haven't changed much either. You still read manga, right? So do I. Though I don't have much time lately. And I bet you still sleep with some kind of adorable pajamas, right? He's got me there. My bunny pajamas. Alright, fine. Maybe I am being too dramatic. But you have to admit, you just dragged me through a lot of crazy shit with no answers. He nods. And I'll give you some, just as soon as we get to my mentor's house. Wait, what? What mentor? Why can't we go to my house? Because you look exhausted and I'm pretty tired too. Her house is closer and she'd be able to actually help you with this magic control problem. I saw you about to lose it back there. Do you really want to blow up innocent people? Almost everyone here in Yoru is at least a supernatural. And with the way things are here, they probably won't even notice if you did explode. Just how bad is Yoru? Are we still in Chawa then? Taku nods. Yeah, this is, well, you might call it a red light district. But don't freak out, plenty of normal people live here too. And there are nicer areas of it, which is where we're headed. I look around the street that only feels threatening above anything else. There are really nicer areas? Well, sure, Crime Boss has got to have somewhere nice to live too, right? I frown at Taku's joke and he shakes his head as we walk. He takes his mask down and smiles at me. Don't worry about it too much. Aurelia is a super kind person most of the time. I knew it was going to be her. I remember seeing like a thing, like a screenshot, and it shows him and Aurelia, and she is the one in Mystic Destinies Echoes. She is the protagonist, so she's the Inara, basically. So that's freaking awesome! So we get to meet her in this, and then we'll see her in that, obviously. Yee! Anyway. And her home is safe. It's the best place to stay right now. I don't know. Oh, and did I mention she's an information broker? She might have info on your mom. I turn his words over in my mind, and the more I think about it, the more it becomes clear that this Aurelia sounds perfect. A place to stay where I won't hurt anyone. And she might be able to help me with my magic without trying to control what I do. Plus, she might have information. Yeah, that'll be perfect. I smile, feeling like I finally heard some good news for the first time in a while. Yeah, alright, let's go meet your mentor then. I was surprised when we entered a fancy-looking, well-kept building and went up an elevator. Hey, hey, hey! This is Sho and Shinji's hallway! I guess crime bosses really do live here. Though that thought doesn't make me feel particularly safe, I suppose it is better than staying in some rundown shack. Takumi knocks on the door, As the seconds tick away, I stare at the door, my nervousness only growing. The moment I think to ask Taku if he's sure that his mentor is home, the door opens. I blink, seeing no one there. I love the fact that she's like 4 feet tall! I love the fact, because like everybody else is like the same height, and they like make her like literally 4 feet tall. I immediately look down to see a tiny yet intimidating looking woman. I know it's rude to stare, I know, but I find myself awkwardly examining her. I'm surprised by how small she is, and the unnatural silvery undertone of her skin. She almost doesn't feel real. I'm struck by her beauty and the silver freckles dotting her face. As I stare at Aurelia like an idiot, her eyes turn from me to Taku. Who's this? Takumi pulls me by the waist to him. My girlfriend. Aurelia's expression doesn't change, though. Sure I am. Right, I am. You are? No, you dork. But if I want to ever convince someone, maybe next time play along? Right, yeah, sorry. Lying to someone isn't the best way to gain their trust, but... Aurelia steps out of the way and gestures for us to come in. Let's talk inside. Wow, her place looks amazing. It really does. Swank. As I walk inside, I can't help but look around. Yoru looks so much prettier from up here. Although it's dark, I can see some of the buildings I saw in Chawa in the distance. I quietly admire the sleek monochrome design of the place, and even though I don't know Aurelia at all yet, somehow it still feels very her to me. I look back at Aurelia and almost gasp. She looks so good against the backdrop. So much so that I half wonder if I'm not just looking at a painting. Someone explain? Takumi glances at me and pulls down his hood. This is my childhood friend Inara. She just came back to town for a few weeks ago. Some things happened and she discovered she's a sorceress now. Her powers are out of control though, and there's no one to train her. Aurelia's eyes dart to me. She has no one. How did she just discover her powers, then? Taku looks away. It's complicated. I'll tell you tomorrow, if Inara's okay with it. If it helps you help me, then it's fine by me. I see. She looks back at Taku. So what do you want me to do? Can't Hagawara handle this? Well, like I said, it's complicated. But basically, she doesn't want to go to school right now. She wants to find the person who awakened these powers. And I was hoping you could help with that. Help us control our powers and give us some information on that person. Maybe give us a safe place to stay? I wouldn't be the best teacher, though, since I'm in and out of here all the time. I jump slightly when Takumi drops to his knees all of a sudden, clasping his hands together. Please, really? You're our best chance, our only option. The silence drags on as she stares at him. No expression, nothing said. But as Takumi continues to stare back at her, she sighs. What's in it for me? I can pay you if that's what you want. You guys are a mess. But whatever. You can stay here for tonight and I'll figure it out tomorrow. I just got back and I'm exhausted. Taku stands up with a grin. Thanks, Aurelie! You really... But you do look tired. Had another late night out with Pax again? Ugh, don't remind me. I'm going to bed now. Night, kids. Without another word, Aurelia turns and disappears into another room. Takumi and I look at each other and Taku smiles. I'll show you to your room. Taku takes me to a luxurious room and I get a strange feeling of nostalgia. Maybe you should share it. Snuggle a little. What? It feels like some fancy hotel. Or Dad's house in Paris. Well, let me know if you need anything. I'll be on the couch. Good night. Wait. I reach out and grab his arm. He slowly looks back, looking somewhat flustered. It doesn't last long, though, as a mischievous glint appears in his eyes. What? Want me to sleep with you? I immediately drop my hand, letting him go. No thanks. What I want is an explanation. A thorough one. To what's been going on in your life and what all this is. Like, you can tell me as we snuggle. I'd have been like, yes. And just seen what happened. I'm serious. She really should have been like, what? You want me to sleep with you? Yes. Because he would have had this horrified look on his face and not know what the fuck to do with himself, and that would have been brilliant, and then she would have laughed at him. That would have been great. Anyway. Yeah, and what exactly happened tonight? He sighs and turns around. Fine. In a nutshell, I'm a private detective in Shawa. I primarily work here in Yoru. I help who I feel like helping. I take my jobs at night, and parkour is how I get around. Aurelia trained me. I carry a variety of magical weapons to help me deal with supernaturals. The guy today, he had the power to create illusions. His magic was known for showing people who they feel the strongest about. You'd think it would be a lover, but no. It's usually someone who you have strong regrets about or who hurt you. So I knew you were probably seeing your mother. I would have warned you, but he just suddenly showed up in the wrong place. Either my info was bad or he figured me out. His eyes searched my face. I know it's a lot to hear all at once, but does that about sum it up? Can I go to sleep now? He's right, that was a lot. I stared at him blankly before remembering myself enough to nod. To think anyone is out there doing what he does. And to think that there's someone with powers like that. I was so certain it was Shizuka. She looked so real. Takumi begins to leave and I call out to him before he can get through the door. I want to go see my father tomorrow. He might know something about Shizuka. Taku puts his hand in the air, waving an acknowledgement before closing the door behind him. Once he leaves, I waste no time diving into bed. It doesn't take even a minute for me to pass out. Taku and I woke up late as hell today. Aurelia wasn't there when we got up, so we scavenged through cabinets and ate whatever we could find for breakfast. After a quick call to my dad to make sure he was going to be in, we arrive at the Shinomura offices after working hours. As soon as Dad sees me, he smiles. Before anything else, I pull my dad into a big hug before he can even attempt to get up from his chair. Oh! He hugs me back just as tightly. It's good to see you, sweetie. I nod and let go, moving to stand next to Takumi. Dad, this is... Dad's smile widens suddenly. Takumi Arai, of course! I wouldn't forget your childhood best friend. And yet, somehow, I did. He turns to look at Taku. It's been so long, Takumi. It's nice to see you again. You too, sir. I clear my throat, drawing attention to myself. Sorry to just bring it up like this, but I'm here about Mom. Hearing the word Mom, Dad's smile falls and he glances at Takumi beside me. Anything you have to say, you can say in front of Taku. He sighs, rises, and walks up from behind his desk to stand in front of us. Dad suddenly looks so very tired. Your mother called me last weekend. She told me she would not be coming home anytime soon. If ever. You don't look surprised. He nods. I knew this day might come eventually. Do you know about what happened to Inara? Wordlessly, he gives us the smallest hint of a nod, but just that single gesture sends me reeling. I feel like I've been punched in the stomach. I breathe out in a whisper. You knew? Father only stares back at me, the response in his guilty eyes. Aw. I stumble backwards, nearly tripping over myself before Taku steadies me. I stare at the man I chose to call my father. In that moment, I feel like all of that vanishes, and I'm staring at a stranger. Something snaps inside of me, and I feel white-hot anger come out like a flood. I clench my fists and glare at the man before me. What do you know? Where are you hiding Shizuka? Were you in on all of this too? Tell me everything! Takumi gently puts his hand on my shoulder. Inara, calm down. Takumi's voice is so calm and steady that I find myself backing down a little. He looks down with a sad sigh. I've known that Shizuka was an immortal sorceress for many years. And I have known that she has been trying to look for ways to fix that. So we could leave this world together in the end. He looks up at me. And I do know that she didn't want the solution to be you. I want to cover my ears to block out everything he's saying. Oh, she didn't want to use me, but she went right along with it anyway. He knew beforehand and he didn't tell me. He just let it happen. My whole body shakes with restrained emotion. Only a single worried glance for Takumi keeps me from completely exploding. Do you know where Shizuka is? If you would even tell us if you did. He slowly shakes his head no. Although I deserve Inara's anger, and even hate if she so desires it. This is very difficult for me too. I love my wife. I have for more than half my life. And now I'm uncertain if I will ever see her again. Is that all he fucking cares about? That he might not ever see her again? What about me? I have to live like this now because of what she's done. How can you even look at me after saying that? After everything that woman did? You're... Inara. I freeze at the sound of my name on Takumi's lips. He quietly leads me to the side near the window. If you keep going like that, we'll get nowhere. I understand that you're angry. I do. But stay quiet and let me investigate. I can't read. Oh my god, my mouth just... my brain and my mouth just don't want to work. But stay quiet and let me investigate a bit with Rokuro. 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 That is such a fucking hard name to say. My head and my heart don't seem to agree. I want to continue to yell at that man until I can no longer yell. But logically, I do understand that it would be better for me to stay quiet and let Taku handle it. Especially since I can't calm down enough to do it myself without shouting. I don't want to agree, but I nod and follow Takumi back. Do you have any information you could give us about your wife's past activities? Shizuka was often doing things on her own, and I never looked into her affairs too deeply. The answers to my questions are what might help us find her, so please don't hold anything back. Even the tiniest bit of information could be helpful to us. Under Takumi's intense stare, he hesitates, then sighs. She didn't keep anything like paperwork in our home, and she most likely had her own financial accounts, but there is one unusual thing that comes to mind. During late spring of 2013, she was seen spending a great deal of time in your room. I had someone watch her from afar for the first time ever during that period, but I never interfered. I did it out of worry. He walks back to his desk, and after rummaging through a drawer, pulls something out, something far too small for me to see. He hands it to Takumi, and as it changes hands, I see that it's a USB drive. This is all the information that I have. It may not be much, but it still might help. And I've always assumed that she kept her personal things elsewhere because she never kept anything in the house. So I would think that location holds more information. Thank you for your help. Taku slides the thumb drive in his pocket, and after a quick bow, he leaves the room. I follow after Taku, but something compels me to look back at my father. He looks so terribly sad that the sight of it painfully squeezes my heart. But sadness quickly turns back to anger as I remember this is the man who kept a terrible secret from me. A man who let me be sacrificed so that he and his wife could be happy. He didn't know she was gonna do it, though. You know what I mean? Like, she was like, I don't want to use an R, and he's like, okay, and then but then she does. And it's like, that's, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like if he had known, he would have tried to stop her. I turn on my heel to follow Takumi, leaving the office and my father behind. We make it down to the eerily quiet lobby. Takumi seems lost in thought, so I retreat into my own mind. I didn't expect to find out what I did. How could I have? I sigh. So far we found out that whatever it was that she was doing, she kept it well hidden. Possibly hiding it in some other location? But how is that helpful? It's not like we can just know where whatever secret place she might... Wait. But how is that helpful? It's not like we can just know where whatever secret place she might have... Oh. The house. The house that she took me to. That could be it. My stomach twists at the thought of that place. That man didn't seem to know anything about it. So this might really be it. Oh, come on, he's still your dad. Don't call him that man. I have to go back there. What? Go back where? I sigh and quickly explain my train of thought to Takumi. As I say it out loud, it really hits me. I have to go back to that place again. I clench my shaking hands into fists. My heart beats in my throat. The air around me suddenly feels heavy. Everything around me starts to shift, and I fight to keep myself from shaking. Takumi glances at me and quickly pulls out his phone to check the time. I work best at night, so let's just go now. His voice seems to ground me a little, and I manage a nod. With Takumi leading, we head out of the Shinomura building, intending to ride Takumi's scooter to the place that I'd hoped to never go back to. Ah! Okay. I love the fact that each chapters are like half an hour long. They're so great. Anyway. Yeah. So I am going to wrap this part up here. I will see you guys next time. Remember to give the video a big thumbs up and subscribe to see more.